Hi, welcome to Shay Stamps. I'm Shay, and today we're going to make a triple stamp card. My triple stamp card is just a little bit different for this one because I don't have this stamp going all the way over this top layer of paper. I recommend one be white or very vanilla or something really light, and then another color. And the way it works is the darker color ends up making a frame around these smaller pieces, the white pieces. And I will put all of the sizes up so that you can see. And here we go. So first up, we're going to do these two larger pieces. And in order to keep this piece stuck in the middle, I'm going to use a little bit of snail because I want to make sure it stays in the same spot while I'm stamping, and put a tiny bit in the middle. I'm just going to touch it a few times so that it gets rid of just a little bit of the adhesiveness. Then I'm going to line this up in the middle and just press it down lightly, and now that'll keep it from moving around too much while we're doing our stamping. And for my stamps, I'm going to use the Just Believe set. So first thing we want to do is get our stamp and our block. Now, my problem is the block isn't quite as big as the stamp, and I don't have a larger block yet. So what I do is I make sure that this is all the way over to the left when I press it down. And then all you have to do is use your fingers along the right side to make sure that you get a nice clean stamp with that. Okay? And I'm going to use the Always Artichoke ink. And again, just put your thumb where the three dots are and flip it over. And instead of the way you would typically ink a stamp, I'm going to use the pad against the stamp rather than the stamp on the pad to make sure that I get really good coverage with this ink, especially because I don't have any of the block behind the side. I want to make sure that I'm getting a lot on there. So first, we're going to make sure that everything is on both pieces for the best effect, and it's nice to have it come off the edge a little bit too. So I'm going to go just a little off the bottom and the left and stamp. And don't forget, if your block is a little bit small, use your fingers and push around to make sure you get a really good clean stamp. And this part where you can't see the stamp, that's going to be covered by the darker color in the background, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-ink. See, it wouldn't have covered it there, so I got to flip it over, make sure that I'm getting it all. And I'm going to do another one way over here on the right and make sure it goes off the side. Okay. There we go on that one. Then, normally I would just do a double stamp, but as you can see from the little gaps there, there's some darker ink still left on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the stamp. And then I'm going to just stamp on here to get rid of some of the ink. See? So there's just a little bit of ink left on there. And then I'm going to do one that I'd like to look like a background stamp. And it gives a really nice 3D effect because it makes this all look like it's in the background because it's a little bit lighter. Okay, now I'm going to use my square, and this is, there we have it, letter D. So we're going to use the D with the smaller flower. Just press it on there. And this one, because it's smaller, I'm just going to ink like you normally would. And I'm going to just fill in a little bit of space with these. And remember, because we're going to have another block over there, you won't be seeing anything right here in the middle. So we're trying to cover more of this down here. And I'll stamp it here. And then because I missed a tiny bit here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it off. And I'm going to hit down here and down here just to help fill it in just a little bit more. Okay, done with those stamps. Now it's time to assemble. So I'm going to take this back apart. And first up is we need to put the largest piece onto our card, which we've already folded. So I'm just going to put, as you can see, second time trying this, going to put a little bit of snail on this. And remember, snail goes a long way, so you don't need a ton of it. And we're just going to center this right on the darker card. There we go. Okay. Now we need our medium size piece. And we're going to put some snail on this. And just try and get it centered right over where we stamped. That's a little crooked. Thankfully, snail can be forgiving before you give it a good push down. Okay, now our next piece, a little bit of snail. And you got to do a little bit of lining up here, just try and get it in the generally right area. See how that's coming together now? Okay, and another dark piece for framing. Okay, get that right in the middle. And now we have one more piece. And on this one, we're going to do the text stamp and then another one of the small flower. So I would like to do the text stamp first so that it makes it easier to line up the flower. And I'm using a Sympathy stamp from the Petite Pears set. And this has really a lot of great stamps. If you're just getting started, this is a good one to get because it covers so much territory. So I'm going to use the Sending Sympathy and Prayers, and then you can use the To Heal Your Heart on the inside of your card. So let's put this on our block, and I'm going to stamp that in Not Quite Navy. And I'll put it over here on the right. And then I'll put my leaves back on and ink that up again with the artichoke. And then I just want to line it up so it kind of wraps around the text just a little bit. And I'm also thinking it might be nice to have a butterfly on there because my friend that I'm making this for really enjoys butterflies. So I'm going to use the butterfly stamp from A Fitting Occasion. So I've got that on there. I'm going to use my More Mustard. All three of these are from the Regals collection. Just going to ink up my butterfly a little bit. And I'm going to stamp it over here in the corner. Okay. Just a little bit of extra color since I'm doing this pretty much monochromatic. And then on the back of this, a little bit of snail. Apparently a little bit of blue from my finger. And let's just get this centered. Okay. And there you have it. A nice Sympathy card. And then on the inside, I would just put another piece of white. And I would use this little To Heal Your Heart stamp probably in the corner, maybe another butterfly, and it would be all ready to go. So that's this week's project. Next time I'm going to make a box from cardstock using the Simply Scored and the bone tool, which I just got and really like. So you really don't need much for next week, just the Simply Scored and a bone tool is kind of optional, and some cardstock, and we're going to make some really nice boxes that you can give for gifts.